Hey guys, no grand introduction to this one. This is just a chill weekend stream. I have done this once before, but I've got another crop of comics I collected in the 90s. Extremely scattered after that. In fact, wouldn't say I did collect, but they've sat in their bags and boards since the 90s. And since I thought it would be fun to hang out whenever I do decide to start bagging and boarding everything up, I like to do a stream. So welcome. I've got the chat up as well, so feel free to join in. Half of what I'm using this time is the same. Some BCW boards. But I was able to buy local this time around, awesomely enough. I live in the Central Coast, San Luis Obispo, Captain Nemo's, or maybe it's just Nemo's, and I add the Captain because I've seen League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or Red. That's a comic book too. So these are the bags I'm using. They look good enough. Price was right. So I think we'll make do. Agent Liberty, I think, is what we ended with last time. So I think that has a new bag and board on it. So that's just there to get my angle. Hey, look, a bag for the bags. Just so you know if you want to tune out immediately or not here. So I've got 200, if you saw that, but I'm not sure I'm going to make it through all of those tonight. The last couple streams I did were of my own collection that I did manage to piece together in the 90s. I mean, I wasn't, I was a typical 90s kid. I thought I was going to be a millionaire because of the comic books I was collecting. Didn't exactly work out, but they've retained their emotional worth or sentimental worth in spades. But a lot of 90s stuff in there. This collection that I'm going through this week, it was actually my dad's. And I don't mean that in a, these are going to be some really old comic books from the 60s or whatever. I mean that in the way that he started speculating. I mean, that was the thing about the 90s, right? When the 90s was booming, it was booming for everybody. So my dad got in on a little bit of that. Panned out for him about as well as it panned out for me. Possibly better, actually, because I ended up buying that collection from him. I can't remember how much total, because it was like I bought it off of him for, I priced out all the books and then just gave him the normal, I didn't lowball him or anything. And then as I was going through, I think I found some of them. I've only been through, that's the other thing, I've only been through this collection I'm about to bag and board like once before. And I think it might have been for a friend of the show, patron of the site, Adam Parkins. You get a personalized video if you subscribe at a certain tier on the Patreon. And for his, I literally just went through this box full of comics because I wasn't sure what was in there. That was maybe the second time ever that I'd been through it, and not in any sort of, I went through it the first time to catalog it so I could buy it off my dad. So, not super familiar with everything that's in here, and immediately forget every single time. So, there should be some. There's a few surprises, things that I wouldn't have been able to collect myself had I decided to back in the day. So won't be uneventful, but you're not gonna see any $1 million comics necessarily tonight. But as the gangsters say, in that Simpsons episode where Krusty the Clown bids on his daughter's violin. The sentimental value is true to roof. So, should be great, nonetheless. In fact, fun family story right off the bat here. And this might be a DC heavy run as well. I think I did mostly Marvel. That was been part of me doing this, is kind of getting them a little bit organized in their boxes. Don't quote me on that though. But I'm seeing right off the bat here there are a lot of DC ones. So this particular run, which I believe is complete, 1 through 6 of, and I'll show them to you as I bag them, and obviously I'm going to put the stack over there when I'm done. But in fact, why don't I just start, in fact, instead of blabbing away here. So, oh, there's 2 in here. So this series, The Man of Steel, it's a series that I believe John Byrne did, right? Was actually one that this one I have no idea about. Oh, I'll tell you what happened. So this guy right here, this series, Man of Steel, was actually one that my grandma had collected. My grandma was a collector too, strangely enough. I come from a long line of collectors. But I borrowed the books from her for whatever reason, because I liked comic books. And took them to band class, or I think they were in a separate bag. I don't know. I had either brought them out to show somebody or had otherwise gave away that I had them. So I don't know if I needed to, because when I put them under my seat in my bag, the guy behind me just took them. And I remember thinking, I was a pretty mousy kid. I wasn't going to stand up to anybody. I remember thinking, obviously he was the one that stole them. I remember the look on the kids' faces next to him, like they knew he was the one that stole them. I remember all of it. In fact, his last name might have been Rasmussen. Anyway, but my mom, because it was her mom's collection, probably rather than go back to her and be like, hey, got your comic book stolen, that I don't know why we borrowed them in the first place. I don't even remember reading them, but of course I don't remember what most, if any, of my comics are about from back then. But my mom found them somewhere locally, or got somebody to get them for us locally. What is going on here? Strange. These bags seem a little crisper than the ones I was using last time. I think I used also BCW bags last time. Nothing wrong with them, but kind of liking what's going on here. So she rebought them all. Actually, did she? No, I don't have number 3. Interesting. And that's what these are. So these are not the actual originals that is John Byrne, right? Am I going nuts here? Yeah, John Byrne. Inked by Dick Giordano, colored by Tom Zuico, lettered by John Costanza, edited by Andrew Helfer. Written and penciled by John Byrne. Right, yeah, correct. Okay. Yeah, no number 3. Interesting. So, whatever Rasmussen, if you're out there, give me my comics back. Or give me my grandma's comics back. Oh, the reason I started that story, not just because it's interesting, is because last time I used a different mic. This is not maybe ideal, having this in front of me the whole time. It's the setup I use for Tetris Tuesdays, so it's just there and easy. But I feel like I'm going to have to start moving faster. I need a better setup. I need to get organized. All right. Boards are here. Comics are here. Let's ditch this thing. Put these over here. That'll work. Okay, a little bit better. How's everybody doing? Hands down, my favorite Superman. Like, I never read a lot of Superman is also the funny thing. Like, he's not necessarily ever been a character of mine, as much as I might enjoy him. Who doesn't? But hands down, my favorite Superman bad guy is coming up here. It was one of those stories I remember reading, and I don't remember where I first read about him. I guess it might have been this comic book, actually. This is easily my earliest exposure to Superman, were these books. But Bizarro. Who doesn't love a good Bizarro story? I think it was one of the first comic book stories with depth that I ever keyed in to, you know, like, he's a tragic character and not just an evil character. That and Mr. Oh, actually, Lois and Clark was probably my first, earliest, most beloved exposure to Superman. I would bet just about everything stems from that show. Watched it religiously. Yeah, no number 3 there. But it looks like this one got tossed in for no apparent reason. But it's a pairs and breeding book, so can't be that bad. It's Action Comics number 643. Yeah, we are going pretty deep on the DC here. Deep, I don't know, but lots of DC. This is a weird one. I don't know. I know I patronized a few grab bags here and there, you know, which I'm sure they still do. Grab bags are those grab bags, bags of comic books wherein, you know, they weren't worth anything. That's why they were in the grab bag, you know, just people trying to get rid of them. Although I'm sure some of them probably ended up being worth more than nothing, but more often than not, I bet they just ended up being the weird ones in your collections, like this one. Even though read and reread, in fact, this might be one of my earliest comic books ever. Advanced D&D. Along with fact, I mean, these are in poor enough condition that I don't know that I necessarily need to be preserving them anymore. There will be a few on the bottom of the pile here that I might just leave in their bags rather than upgrade them. Dragonlance. Gotta wonder if that came in the same grab bag. Right? Okay, this bag has food or dead bugs on it. Couldn't have told you. Oh, actually, I was going to say I couldn't have told you where I got this one, but I think I just saw where I got it. It's one I probably should not even be. Should be saving the Baggin board for one that really needs it. I think I got that from Wizard, if I would have to guess there. And the bag's over here. This one always stuck out like a sore thumb. Turns out it's because it is a Marvel UK publication. Pretty sure I got it because of Ghost Rider. Judging by the title, it's related by more than just cameo alone. Shadow Riders. Okay, here we go. This might be starting with a showstopper here. In fact, is this... I don't think I've been able to find... I have digital versions of most of the comic books I own. I don't know if I have a digital version of this. They don't fit me as well as they did in the 90s. Rocketeer. 3D comic. Still works. Outstanding. It's not going to work for you guys, but... See? It's got the... It's very cool. Wish I could communicate to you how cool the Rocketeer 3D comic book is. I think there might... I can't remember exactly, but hold on. There might be another element to this. Bit of a tighter fit. Kind of a bigger comic. Let's put the glasses in the back this time. Yeah, okay. So, this also came with a cassette. That I should probably... it's probably on YouTube somewhere, right? Wish I had a better way to keep those all together, but it's just sitting in the box with it. Better not put that on my semi-magnetic desk. Okay, now we get into. So when I did the last round of books, these are actually not that bad, but the board is kind of browning from what I can see. I don't know if I used acid-free anything back in the day. What was I in the middle of saying? Oh, so yeah, towards the end of the last few videos I did, Baggin and Boardin, I left out both because I'd run out of bags and boards, but also because, again, I was trying to reorganize some of them. So some of the DC books I left out. So these are actually mine. These are from my collection. And they're just going to keep coming. So get ready. The Death of Superman books. Pretty sure I got the whole shebang. And actually recently went back. The Death of Superman was a milestone for many different reasons. Obviously, because Superman died. But also because it was it's like emblematic of the height of 90s comic book collecting. Because it was this big, catchy storyline that brought in new readers, old readers, and speculators by the zillions. And the reason it was important for the speculators, I mean, when I say speculators, obviously people that fair weather collectors in a way, didn't necessarily have a vested interest in the medium, didn't necessarily understand the history or the way the industry worked even at times or all the time. So when The Death of Superman came out, they gobbled it up. They bought and bought and bought and saved and saved and saved. And DC printed and printed and printed. And obviously he didn't stay dead. He was never going to stay dead. That was never in the cards. And well, there were probably a fair amount of comic book collectors across the board that didn't necessarily understand that. These speculators, it is assumed or posited, especially didn't understand that. So when, in their eyes, their investment went nowhere because the death kind of went nowhere, he was alive again in, I don't remember, by the end of that run, by the end of the that's not true. They obviously, I don't want to say milked it because I'm fond of several of those storylines, if not all of them, really. In fact, I remember back in the day when was his name actually John Henry, right? The Iron Superman. Well, have I bagged it already? No, I did. Yeah, maybe I did. Man of Steel. He actually looked like he was built of steel. I remember actually reading that storyline, whereas on its face I was like, this is ridiculous. This is like, why are they even doing this one? Because this is the most obvious he's not Superman one. And then I want to say somewhere in that story, this is the actual the where he comes back to life. It's just a little big, so it's taken me some time. The actual story of that Man of Steel is like, at some point he meets Lois Lane, and she says something. It's written well enough for me, in fact, I guess, that she says something along the lines of, that's him, like, of all the ones she's met or whatever it was. And it was obviously, that was Superman's spirit, that is anyway. that ended up becoming one of my favorites instead of so I'm stretching the bag to the limit here a little bit. So yes, the death and return of Superman is one of those stories that encapsulates the 90s probably better than most. Both the, actually, you know, for an actual, like, the story of his death and return, like the written story of it is far less 90s than a lot of other stories I can think of from the period. But the story of that series of books and what it did to the industry, so to speak, is absolutely emblematic. Reign of the Supermen, that's what it was. I'm not sure. Are some of these printings, like this one might be an alternate printing of one of the bagged books I already did? Not sure. Anyway. But it looks real nice. Get the foil on there. And I was a fair weather. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this is a. Oh yeah, because we got 2 books in here. I was a fair weather Superman collector. I don't believe I collected anything outside of his death and return. Hopped on the bandwagon for those. Hopped right off when it was done with. I apologize for anybody that's offended by that. I wish I read comics for the writing back then. You know, I wish I really appreciated them more than I did. Especially now that I can't necessarily afford to be a physical comic book collector again like I was. There's the one, the death of, and then this is definitely a, does it say? It's got a big 2 on it, so I'm going to guess maybe second printing. Superman, blah, 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 published DC, American Avengers, 3rd printing, G7771. I probably had no idea it was a 3rd printing. To me, anything outside the bag that was a reprint of a bagged issue was 2nd printing. I don't think I ever went into 3rd printings. Psychologically. All right, so the Batmans begin. I was less of a fair weather Batman collector. So I've got a few more. Dare I try and open this up? This was, I want to say the end of Nightfall, but I'm probably wrong. But it's got a cool die cut going on there. You open it up. It's probably Azrael in there, right? Is that it? Am I going crazy? Is that Quesada's signature? Did Quesada do that cover? I know he didn't do the book. I think Bagley was still doing the book, wasn't he? Doug Mensch, writer. That's awesome. Doug Mensch created Moon Knight and Shang-Chi and a bunch of others. Oh no, maybe I'm reading that wrong. Doug Mensch, Jim Aparo, and Terry Austin, Mike Manley. I have no idea what name. Like, writer, Adrian Roy, colorist. Okay, yeah, Doug Mensch, writer. Whatever. A whole bunch of people working on this book apparently, and Bagley is not one of them. And it doesn't mention if that's Quesada on the cover there. Whose signature is that? Am I going nuts? Anyway. Yes, I am going nuts. Let's just, for the sake of argument. No comic goes into a bag the same way. It's very strange. Probably a better way to do this. Not on the internet. I think we've got, well, that stack's getting pretty high over there. We've got 4 more, and then we'll move on to the next group. Actually bust open one of those new boxes. I don't remember where I got this particular one. I know I did mail order a lot of comics. I'm wondering if there were like bonuses sometimes that I forgot about, you know, like I got a free comic book for spending however much money or something like that. Cuz some of these I just don't remember. I mean, I didn't have a job, so there's a chance that my mom was buying all of my comic books, essentially. So I might have just, you know, like a kid in a candy store. But awesome series nonetheless, right? Hey, Chuck Dixon on this one, another Moon Knight alum. Although chronologically, I don't know. This might have come before that. Might have been a Batman alum that did Moon Knight instead of the other way around. Dick Giordano on this one as well. I mean, it's 3 comics earlier in the Nightfall storyline, so that makes sense. Very weird cover, though. I remember thinking it was a weird cover, and I remember continuing to think it's kind of a weird cover there. It's like not Max Keith, but... So these books, these are the ones I was referring to that do not need to be preserved. I talked about this a little bit last time too, but I had basically 2 collections going on. The books I did care about are bagged and boarded, and then there were just some that were like, I don't know why I made the distinction, because this book especially, with others, was one that I enjoyed a bunch. Like, I'm talking about The Flash, by the way, you're about to see. But The Flash was a series I bought on the monthly or whatever it was. very much enjoyed the stories, and for some reason put them in the other pile of comics that I had that were not bagged and boarded. So they've just gone through life bouncing around whatever box they've been in. So I've recently given them their own bag and board. And having a real hard time, apparently. Okay, there we go. This storyline especially, pretty good. The Flash dies. Superman wasn't the only one that died in the 90s. But this was far less impactful and serious. I think he was back by the next episode, or next issue. So, all right, I'm going to retire that pile, actually bust into that box I started this stream talking about. Some of these are actually probably fine. Probably don't need to put them in new bags and boards, but huh. Oh. Interesting. So, I don't know how often this was done. For Image, they had this thing where you buy these comics, and each comic would come with a coupon, and you send all the coupons in, plus shipping and handling, and you'd get Image number 0, which is upstairs, actually, and I should bag and board that as well. Apparently, and I had forgotten this, they did the same for Malibu with Hardcase Prime, The Stranger's Wizard, and the Malibu Sun. This is the thing you would send in with the coupons to get the issue. So I'm wondering, apparently I didn't ever do that, which would make sense. I didn't go hard on Malibu in any sense of the word, but I've completely forgotten that this stuff existed. This needs to go elsewhere with my cards. The other thing Wizard would do would have cards in some of their issues. I doubt this needs a bag and a board itself, but you know what? Whatever. Let's keep it in the old one. How about that? Oh, and here's a straight up wow. I wonder if this is actually no, because this isn't my collection. Yeah, these aren't my comics. These are the ones I bought off my dad. So this is just an unopened Wizard number 23 with the Battlestone card in there. I didn't even know Liefeld had a comic book called Battlestone, so that was definitely after my time. These are the cards that came in there. Whatever the heck that is. Q unit. Am I supposed to place this? This is like kind of see-through, so maybe I'm supposed to place it over something. Prime Skybox International has teamed up with Malibu Comics to launch the Ultraverse on high-quality comic cards. This incredible 100 card series features. Okay, so this is like Malibu Universe, or yeah, well, And then a wizard card for... These are all in like perfect condition, so I'm like scared about it. Shaman's Tears. Shaman's Tears was an interesting book. I believe all Native American made. There's that Battlestone card that's in that other issue. And Tribe. Might have been another one that was all Native American. Those need to go with the cards. If you're wondering about what kind of cards I have, go look at my Chasers series of videos. Let's put these over here. All right. First up in the not my... Oh yeah, it looks like we are still sticking with DC for, yeah, all of this stuff, so... I don't think... Yeah, no, this is too old to be mine. I do have some other Flash comics that we haven't got to yet, so maybe these are mixed in a little bit. But this one definitely is not one that I collected. So this would be from the other collection. This is Silver Age. You can kind of tell by the... Actually, we don't need that wizard. I'm not going to bag and board that. We don't need that there either. Like, I feel like I always look at that to tell what the age is, but I'm not great. Carlos Garcia, image was cool. I didn't get the Spawn, but I did get the Pit and other ones. Yeah, I got Pit. Obviously Spawn too. The Max Wildcats, the thing is there was a certain time I collected, and I think I fell into the time when everyone was sucked in because I'm a sucker like that. You and me both, Carlos. Wouldn't be here otherwise. So I was a big sucker for anything shiny with a number 1 on it or all that stuff. Got all those ones you're talking about. Dale Keown did the Pit, right? Sam Keith was the Max. Strowman Tribe. I just literally looked at that card. Johnson Strowman Tribe. Although I didn't follow them over from wherever they came from. I'm not familiar with Kilgore. Yup. And there are some image books in this group that I'm going through. Whoever, I think, because it's, like I keep saying, it's my dad's collection. I think he still got it from somebody else. So like he was a speculator that bought from another speculator, which, tracks. So there are some image. In fact, I want to say there's some that there's a few copies of. So we may very well see some Pit and Max comic books coming up. Need to get digital versions or just read these versions of these comics. I'm just not familiar with. Again, not really keen in on any of the artwork's great though. Who's doing this? Oh, Guise. I bet that's Guise, isn't it? There's signature on there. Yep, that's Guise. We've got Guise. He did some X Factor for a while, I think is where I first... he did a few Moon Knight books too when I was going on my Moon Knight trip. '87. June of '87. So yeah, this would have been before my time, collector-wise. But maybe around the same time as that X Factor stuff, strangely. I wonder what the timeline is on that. Flash Annual #1, actually. It's kind of cool. Although it's probably, you know, Flash Volume 2. Flash is Golden Age, right? Isn't he? Close, gotta be. Garrick, maybe. This is not Golden Age, but that annual looks pretty nice. Still some discoloration though going on, so I'm feeling okay about replacing these. You know, just because they were bought by a speculator doesn't mean they were necessarily. Oh, Aquaman #1. 5-issue miniseries by Keith Giffen, Robert Loren Fleming, Kurt Swan, and Al Vey. Have a cool cover. This is another #1, but this is looking like more my era 4-issue miniseries. Robin 2? Okay, so this is interesting. I think these are one of the ones. So it's 2 more of these, which I've already bagged one that was mine that I got. I think. There you go. Purchased from Comics Plus. Lompoc, California. Seal of authenticity. I think one of these is signed. Oh no, the next one is. I'm looking right at it. It's okay. Let's oh, does this not have a... What's going on here? Oh yeah, no board. Oh. Was this in the first one I did? I didn't notice it when I opened it up. There's like another card in here. It's literally a postcard. Didn't notice if that was in the other one that I bagged up as well. Again, this is the era where they would have produced several different versions, each with a different card inside. Carlos, people are... I understand what you're saying, Carlos. I'm not going to repeat that word because my son is actually special needs, but I don't hold any ill will towards you. But people and the way they look at comic books and then think I could make that cool without even reading that thing. Yeah. You're not wrong. There's a lot of armchair quarterbacking, as they say, that goes on across the board. I do remember that the one time I've been through these books, that there were some repeats, you know, which I probably would have done if I had the money as well. Bought several versions of the same comic book. Let's check the inside of this one to see if it has that same postcard. It does have that same postcard, that exact same postcard. So either I took the one out of mine. Oh, it's Azrael on the other side too. Either I took that card out of mine, or which I wouldn't put it past me. I did that. Actually, that was an early quote-unquote mistake of mine when I was collecting, is anything that came in a bag or with whatever, you know, a card, I would rip into that thing, you know. Eventually I stopped doing that, you know, for better or worse, you know, collector wise, for better. Obviously taking stuff out of the bag doesn't bode well for collectability, but as far as actually reading the comics go, it was definitely for worse, because there are some I still have not read to this day for that reason. Okay, this one's signed, and the bag is absolutely yellowing. So I think we've got to take this one out. It's another Nightfall. Oh, first of the series. See if we can actually... Yeah, this is, I have to surgically extract this. It's got corners on it that I feel like are going to mess with the comic. Just take that off. It's a big problem, and yeah, hey man, one I think is better being like that, because they happier in a way, because the more one knows, the more upsetting life can be. It is the truth, Carlos. The more one knows, the more upsetting life can be. For instance, gosh, I'm like, so this, whatever this is, has become so rigid that I'm actually afraid to pull the comic book past it, because it'll fold the corners. So I'm tempted to get some scissors and cut it, but obviously that has additional problems. Also, I think the board is stuck. No, okay, the board's moving now. Okay. We are extracting. Okay. Okay. Certificate of Authenticity. Norm Breyfogle has personally signed Batman number 492. This comic was signed under the direct supervision of Beckett and Associates. The autograph is unconditionally guaranteed as to its authenticity. Beckett and Associates, 2,358 of 5,000. Wow. Norm Breyfogle signed 5,000. And there it is. I'll try to bag it up so you can see the signature, and then I'll put the So there you go. Right there. Doug Mensch wrote Nightfall? Am I crazy? I did not know that, actually. That is awesome. Actually, let's put the certificate on the back. Is this now the only comic book I have that's signed, I think? You'll find a buyer. Yeah, I bet somebody would buy that, right? Oh. Is this number 2? No, this is number 1. Oh, so I have 2 of these also? Interesting. Still going to need to reorganize some of these. Yeah, anybody will buy something signed, right? I mean, that's a good comic to have signed too. Don't get me wrong. It's probably a reason why he signed 5,000 of them. Still, 5,000 of them though. So yeah, I guess I got 2 of those. Getting into some more Supermans here. This is another Man of Steel miniseries, it looks like. At the very least, these things look real good in a new Baggin board. Six-part miniseries by Byrne and Giordano. Is this an alternate of that right there? Interesting. Sure does look like it. Huh. Cool. I got 3 of those then. that one's for you, Grandma. I got your originals stolen, but now I have 3 of them. Is the Man of Steel Superman still around? The John Byrne dude? I mean, was it the Eradicator? Obviously some of those guys, and then the metal one. I forget, that was like a returning cyborg guy from space. I can't remember. But they would have had to have gone. But some of them could have stuck around, right? Man of Steel could have stuck around. Except for the copyright stuff, I guess. I feel like Superman's probably pretty lenient about that stuff. The Superboy storyline was more of a he already existed and is he going to take up the mantle type thing, I think, right? Is that how that went? No idea what this is. The Superman Gallery. It's just a bunch of... Oh yeah, it's like a bunch of different Superman covers from over the years. I'm not going to show you, but that's what it is. Oh, and the Death of Superman trade, which is also in a bag. Yeah, I'll probably just leave this as is. On to the next crop. Looks like we're still moving through some Superman. I think a lot of these are still, this one again, still second printings of some of the bagged Death of Superman books, I believe. Let's see. Oh, I got a couple of these. Action Comics number 687. Doesn't say. It's a second printing. Or third. Pretty sure that's one of them, though. Got two of these for some reason. Here, wait, do I do this? This two. It's gonna be too tight if I put this in the back. No, it actually seems like it'd probably be okay. Oh yeah, that's fine. Perfectly fine. This looks a little older. Golden Anniversary, all new 80-page giant Action Comics. Oh, it's Action Comics number 600. I wasn't as into Byrne when I was a kid. Nowadays, absolutely. Love his stuff. I do not know if he's still alive, but looking back now, always happy when it turns out I have something by John Byrne. Seems like he gravitated to Superman for a while, huh? What in the world is this? Elementals by Comico. It's kind of a quality book. Elementals Special. It's the cover to it is harder than you'd expect. Number one, it kind of has the DC looking. Oh, one of those kids is wearing a Ghostbusters shirt for sure. So I would have bought it. Yeah, that's kind of looks like DC up there. Hey, Dark Horse. Platinum Edition. I think it's in a bag, otherwise I would bust it open. It's not in a bag, okay. I need to find out who did the cover art on this one. Almost looks like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Mom's in the chat. So Mark, my dad, bought all of those. I bet he doesn't remember any of them, or he bought them, you told him to. I think he did buy some that I don't know if I, strictly speaking, told him. Hold on, let me see if I can figure out who did the cover. Marketing controller, production director. Nope, not immediately apparent. Oh, cover by Simon Bisley. Bisley. Good job, Simon. I don't know if I told my dad what comics to buy ever. I think he might have seen what I was buying and you know, because I was buying some number ones and shiny stuff, so it would have been something that a collector had an eye towards anyways, so I don't know that, strictly speaking, I was like, Dad, you should buy this because it's going to be worth money. That I do not remember doing. And shouldn't have been, because obviously I was probably wrong about every single one of these. But that's also what it was like collecting comic books in the 90s. No, I think I remember he bought, he did some, obviously, because I'm from Lompoc, so the ones that are tagged as being from the comic book store in Lompoc, I would bet he bought on his own. But some were a collection. I know he bought off another guy. Can't exactly remember how that went. He'll have to tell you. And those are going to be some of the, I think, older ones that I have coming up. This has a really nice matte cover. Yeah, Comico. Okay, so DC is Comico. Everybody's got their imprints. Marvel's got Curtis. This one I do want to read. Batman Grendel. Don't remember much about Grendel, but I've got 2 of them. So 1 of 2. They're big, thick issues. Somewhere deep in the soul of the city, Batman and Grendel stage their final battle. So yeah, this is probably only a 2-issue miniseries. I think I have a small one of these too, like an ash can almost, that I myself had. I remember the guy at the comic store in Lompoc, where I would go to get my comics and mostly my cards. JD's Sporting Goods. In fact, get this. JD's Sporting Goods was, so this was back, when the comic book cards were getting big. And mostly sports card stores would start carrying Marvel cards and stuff like that. That place went out of business. Deep Space Nine. Pretty cool. Oh, this is cool. Is this not mine? Did I not have one of these? I feel like I had one of these. Yeah, he bought them off a guy that he was cleaning windows for. That's right. That's what it was. My dad had a window and mini blind cleaning business that apparently he got some from a guy. This is a cool one. Vin Diesel, how's the VCU going? Here's another one for you. Turok. Make a Turok movie, Vin. So that JD's sporting goods, sports goods, whatever. They went out of business, obviously. But, and then if you look at whatever it was, probably the first episode of Chasers, maybe the second. No, it was longer than that. It was like, yeah, it was the second or third episode of Chasers, because I talk about where I was buying most of my cards, and by then it would have been Series 3, Marvel Universe Series 3, that I think I was buying mostly from that store. Number one, I would go into that store and be like, this is in really good condition. I have a Death Mate that's not looking so good, so that's actually pretty cool. Oh yeah, these are all in good condition. Nice. I would go into that store and he would ask me what I was into, and I would tell him, and then it would show up on the store shelves, where of course I would buy it. So, excellent businessman. Mutually beneficial relationship there, probably. But actually, what I'm trying to get to, good gosh, that store went out of business, and I made that episode of Chasers where it's like now it was like a predatory loan store, and I was like, this is where I used to be, and now they sell loans, stuff like that. That loan store has since closed, and there is now a collectible card store there, which I about, as much as I do, flipped out when I saw that, and I was like, what? So I went by thinking like what kind of collectible cards are we doing here? And some of you probably already know the ending of this story. Pokemon. So no shade thrown there, but I have not collected Pokemon, do not currently collect Pokemon, so couldn't necessarily avail myself of that store, but thought it was interesting that they took up in that space that they did. I've got 2 Deathmate prologues here that I'm going to try and fit in the same bag. These are a little bit thicker, so this is probably not the best idea I've ever had. Nah, that's fine. Perfectly fine. And these all kind of look like they're in better condition than the ones I actually have. Deathmate was plagued by delays. I think I don't remember what the storyline ended up actually being, or how it fares as far as actual writing goes, but apparently fans and collectors alike were nonplussed about the numerous delays that went on with it. I think it finally all came out though. I don't think there were any canceled issues or anything. I also own this one, so I guess now I have 2 of them. Exo Manowar, but you can kind of see it's got a foil kind of cover going on there, which is why I got it, not because I read Exo at all. We're getting into the Valiant and Malibu stuff. Okay, so here's one of those coupons that you would send away with that postcard thing I showed you at the top. Oh yeah, and this is bagged, so probably really don't need to change the Baggin board, right? Because it can't actually get to the comic. I don't know. I'm gonna do it anyway. Because I'm thorough. That's why. Wow, does not like... Bags don't like to be put in bags, turns out. Get in there. There we go. Do not remember this Ultraverse comic at all. Do not own it. Did not purchase it. I think I got Hardcase and Prime were probably the only two that I ended up... Oh, and Mr. Mirage, Dr. Mirage. Anywho, there's one of those coupons that you would have turned in for probably Ultraverse number 0. Or Malibu number 0, would it have been? You're asking the wrong guy. And it looks like we've got 2 issues of Hardcase. I want to say I read somewhere that Malibu was like on the heels of Image. Like even like Image footed the bill for some of their publishing, I want to say, maybe. Something like that. You know, another independent startup. See if I can fit both of these hard cases in the same bag. Oh yes, I think we can. Catch! Oh, and Prime. Yeah, I think I bought Prime as well, which looks like we also have 2 of over here, which means I'm tripling up on some of these. Just open them both up. I don't know that Ultraverse went anywhere. Are they still around? Malibu Comics. That Vin Diesel joke, by the way, he did that, was it Bloodshot movie? Which is watchable. It's got some cool effects in it. But afterwards, it's based on a comic book from the Valiant stable of comics, who I think are still around, or at least made more of a splash than Prime. Also have no idea about Freaks. Not a great idea to cover the title of your comic with cool artwork if nobody knows what your comic book is, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Freaks was huge. Maybe I'm the problem. Freaks? Anybody? Oh, you want to see it? Freaks? Remember Freaks? It's another coupon. Can I still send away for Malibu number 0? Okay, the last one in a bag did not go quietly. Can't imagine this is going to be any better. Especially if I try and fit both of these in. Oh, there it says. To allow readers extra time to include this wild coupon with their coupon set, the deadline for Malibu to receive coupons has been extended until October 1st, 1993. So, no. Will not be sending in any books. I feel like if I am going to get both of these into the same, it's going to be all at once, but that sounds like a nightmare. So let's give it a shot. It's like these Malibu bags are not as cool, as nice. Or as airtight, apparently. And it came with a Freaks card. Freaks. 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 All right, here goes nothing. It's working. Maybe. Freaks. Freaks. This side not working so well. Freaks. Freaks. Come on, freaks. There you go. A little bit more, a little bit more. Don't want to push down on the top of the book. There we go. Freaks. Freaks. This freaks does not want to go down as well. Freaks. There you go. Freaks. I think we might call it after 100 here, which might still have a ways to go, honestly. Freaks! And here's another one I've never heard of, although that guy looks an awful lot like Quasar. I think the real story here is the ad for the Advantage on the back of these. Oh, sorry, the Super Advantage for the Super Nintendo. Kind of forgot that was a thing. Ultraverse The Strangers. What was the Ultraverse? Was this Ultraverse Comics or Malibu Comics? What exactly was going on there? Oh, looks like the Image Comics have begun. And already we're doubling up on this particular bags and boards. Still a little brown, so I'm feeling good about replacing them. Still here, Carlos? Just got to the Tribe books. They're thin, but I don't know if they're gonna fit. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. To Tribe number ones. Actually, maybe we should reset now that we're into the image. Oh, interesting. So, I think we're into the books. I guess I don't know, actually. Either the books my dad bought off that other guy or books he himself was collecting. But whichever it is, it looks like he stuck around longer than I did, because I don't even recognize these image books. Freak Force #1. Who is this? Artist does look vaguely familiar, but it looks like... Actually, it looks like he's... Eric Larson's a creator. Keith Giffen, plot storytelling. Victor Bridges, pencils. Not familiar. Oh, Dad's in the chat now. As I was collecting based on your suggestions, but it turns out the comics that ended up having the most value were the ones I bought off that guy whose windows I was cleaning. Yeah, anything I would have suggested to you would have fell prey to the 90s. You know, never heard of this one either. Phantom Force from Image, but there is a card in the back. It's also bagged. Created by the legendary Jack King Kirby. And the cover's by Kirby and Liefeld, apparently. Wow. Maybe I should have stuck around Image for a little while longer. Had no idea Jack Kirby did an Image comic. Yeah, anything I would have recommended to you, Dad, wouldn't have gone up in value. The 90s comics again, because I mean that was the catch-22. You were part of a wave. It said, oh, my dad says, but it was fun collecting with you guys. I enjoyed it. Yes, it was fun. That is an excellent way to look at it. It was fun. Because it was not worth a lot of money. The catch-22 about the 90s was that anything that we collected, because we thought it would be collectible, was kind of manufactured collectability, which isn't completely without value, but when you're printing off hundreds of thousands or whatever, many of them, obviously the collectability necessarily goes down. So looks like we've got Shadowhawk #1. Shadowhawk was one of the weird ones. It was Valentino's Image book, but it was one of the weird ones that like it started out with a miniseries. A lot of Image books did this though. Started out with a miniseries and then went into a main series. So there would be like Shadowhawk #1, and then a few months later, Shadowhawk #1 again. Although I want to say, did Shadowhawk... Yeah, it might have been, yeah, Shadowhawk 2 #1 for Volume 2, or the actual ongoing series, which probably isn't ongoing anymore. I feel like I haven't seen a whole lot about Shadowhawk going around. And these are also books that I own, so we're doubling up on all of these as well. Although this next one, I bought all the #1s. It looks like whoever you, my dad, got these from either kept going or you kept going. I don't know, but I've got Shadowhawk #2 here, which I do not have. Kind of funny though, because Shadowhawk not revealing his face was a thing, I think I remember. And then he just like does it in number 2. So it wasn't a thing for that long, if it was a thing. We got Brigade, another one of Liefeld's books that I also have, so I think we're tripling up here. What to do with these? Because again, these did not necessarily go up in value. I don't know if it'd be worth doing a giveaway. Pretty much resigned to the fact that they're worth more to me than they are to anybody else, so kind of just keep them. I do remember you reading the books, Dad. So you weren't just collecting, you would also, I would believe, read and enjoy some of the books, which I always also enjoyed. This one I think I do have. I did buy more than, or maybe it's Brigade number 0. I don't remember if I went to Brigade number 2. Go back and watch one of the other several hour streams. How long have we been doing this for? Oh, I don't need to be streaming at 60 frames, do I, necessarily? Could have brought that down. Hour and a half? Yeah. Dad says he did read them, and he always appreciated the imagination. Youngblood number 0, which I believe I also have, so we're tripling up on this as well. Imagination's still going on. I still read comics, just digitally. Because again, I can't afford to collect physically so much, you know. What if I could? Nothing like a physical book in your hand. And then we jump ahead to Youngblood number 4 for whatever reason. I do have it in my mind to go back and read every comic I own. Like I said, I have the ones that I own physically. I have them digitally as well. I do have it on my list to go back and actually read them someday. But who's got the time? So these Wildcat books, if I'm not mistaken, and I probably did this last time because I think I'm tripling up on these as well, because again, who wouldn't have bought it for this cover? I think this had an image number 0 coupon in it, though. Yep. How to get a copy of Image Comics number 0. Cut out the coupon, thus damaging the value of your comic book forever. But then you get the other comic book, which I did. And again, I won't bring it down tonight because I'm going to call it at 100 books here, but I should have one more stream like this. And I will bag and board my image number 0 in that stream, which means it'll probably be the first it's been exposed to air since maybe ever. I definitely never read it. I don't know if I ever took it out of its. It's still in. It's like the thing it got shipped to me in. That's what I keep it in. So I don't believe I ever took it out of that and cracked it open. But yes, Youngblood's Strike File with the double-sided. I also have this, but it's got 2 covers. So I guess some of these I could be, yeah, that'll be part of. I need to reorganize some stuff, so to go through and combine some of these books. I'll do that off camera. Another strike file. Got 2 of these, it looks like. 3 of these. What was this guy thinking? Not sure why this one would have been any more collectible. Great cover, though. I'm going to say Jay Lee on that cover. Not finding a signature, so let's open it up and see. Jay Lee, I think, was part, oh, double cover on this one as well. Jay Lee was part of Jim Lee's imprint. Is that right? Like each, within Image, each, since it was creator owned, was able to have their own. Yep, that's Jay Lee. Does the whole book, in fact. Always liked Jay Lee. In fact, I should put these all to their Jay Lee covers. I don't think I can fit 3 of these in one bag, so. Flipping you around. Oh, wait. Well, would that be too confusing? Would I remember? I was going to say I could have like one cover on one side and then the other cover on the other side, but I would probably come back to do another stream like this 7 years from now and be like, what is going on with this? Uh-oh. Piece of junk in here. Got it. $8:32. It's not too late. Okay, that's that. That's that. Hey, there's Pitt. Who gets these when I die? That's the person that might actually make some money on them. That's what I should do. Forget giveaway. Let's just have a contest where whoever wins becomes my heir. All right. We've got 2 pits. Looks like this one was bought from Books West. No address on that, but it was bought on January 19th, 1993. for some undisclosed amount, because right now all I'm seeing is a 10-cent charge. Maybe this is for the book and the board. Oh, sorry, the bag and the board. ETM. That's who I used to get from. Entertainment This Month. That's who I used to buy books from. Come with its own little catalog. Oh, this is pit number 1. Why didn't I recognize that cover? I think I have this. I mean, I definitely do now. Seems strange to think I wouldn't have bought an Image number 1. Especially a ripping issue like that one. Huh. This doesn't look familiar either. And why wouldn't I have had this? Because this looks awesome. And I was a huge Tex fan. Also, why is this? This is just confusing. Union number 1. Max number 5. Not sure what's going on there. I'm going to stick with Union number 1 because this looks fantastic. That is a great cover right there. The foil is like kind of gold. Typically not a fan of, but that really works with the text splash there. All right, that's another stack. I think we're almost through the first box. Okay, this is the last stack. Done with this one, we'll call it. Yeah, Dad, what you should have done was collect comics when you were a kid. Then we'd be rolling in it. Wildstar, anybody? Not really ringing a bell for me. Apparently I did not stick with Image as long as I thought I did. Pretty good cover though. It's like matte with the embossed foil. My dad says true, and my mom says, actually, they weren't invented yet. Pretty sure that's a subtle dig. Too bad we still don't have the ones from my mom. Yeah, those were, I mentioned my grandma was a collector. We inherited some Classics Illustrated from her, but they were all in like missing covers, like worse than worst condition. Very, very poor. So certainly weren't worth any money, but again, probably should have held on to them for that reason instead of selling them for that reason. Sold them in the box they came in for, I don't remember how much. It wasn't a lot, because again, they're not worth a lot, but My parents are razzing each other in the comments. It says they couldn't write comic books on rock, which is why they did not have them when I was talking about the first edition Superman that somebody lost. If you're talking about the comic books that I lost, which I did tell that story already, not shying away from it, they were not first editions. They were old, possibly Silver Age again. Like I think 87, is 87 Silver Age? I always forget. Probably not. I mean, they were first printings, I guess, but well, not, yeah, and they weren't lost. That is true. I think I have that Savage Dragon too. They were stolen by that Rasmussen fellow. Nick Rasmussen? I remember it. He wore glasses, sat behind me in band class is what it was. So it was probably 6th grade, because I believe that was the last year I took band. I played saxophone. He sat behind me, played trumpet. Went home with a nice stack of Superman comics that day. Savage Dragon number 3, I think. Again, I don't know if this is the miniseries 3 or the full. Ooh, now we're getting into the spawns. Spawn number 12, but I think we're moving backwards, so I would imagine if he's got all these other number 1s, he better have spawn number 1, right? Unless he was smart enough to not sell that. That's the one that's definitely probably worth more than any of these other ones. Yep, there it is, spawn number 1, so stay tuned. Just one spawn number 1 though. Oh. But it's got something behind it. Wonder what that is. It's not signed. Crusade of Comics presents Spawn number 1. No idea what this little thing is. Looks like another little comic, but it's not. It's like a little promo thing or something. I'll keep it. Spawn was a big one. I did enjoy Spawn. Might have kept going. Todd McFarlane wasn't really my guy. Rob Liefeld was my guy. So I kept going with his books, probably longer than I kept going with McFarlane's books, but I did buy more Spawn than, say, Brigade or Cyberforce. Okay, there's a lot. Okay, we've got 4 darker images for some reason. Again, not sure what would have made those any more collectible. They are bagged. Oh, I think I did this last time too, didn't I? I probably had several copies of this one as well. About to answer my own question. Again, since they're in their own bags, I probably don't need to replace the bags they're in, right? These came with cards. So there's Blood Wolf, right? Uh-oh, we got 2 Blood Wolves. That kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? There's the Max. There's Death Blow. So there was probably... Oh no, it looks like that's all 3 of them. So that's everybody. I just doubled up on one of them for some reason. See if I can fit this. Two issues a bag. Well, that's much easier than Freaks. For those of you that missed the comic book Freaks, I do want to read Darker Image eventually. I guess I always assumed it was just they took the darker characters or stories and put them into their own books, you know, kind of a Marvel Comics Presents, maybe. Except, get this, Image Comics. Looks like we've got a few, oh boy, 3 Max #1s. Which again, pretty sure I also have, so we're quadrupling up on the Maxes here. Sam Keith, I did enjoy. I believe I did collect back in the day. But had no idea that he, I think, started out, or at least one of his very earliest books was Sandman, which I did not read back in the day. I had always heard about it. I'd always occupied, you know, it was very adult. That was a graphic novel at that point. I was not in tune with graphic novels in the 90s. So we've got 3, no, 4. Death Blows. With another strange reverse here. Cybernary. Is that a cybernetic mercenary on the back? Are we doing double duty here? Nope. I don't know why that's there. That comic is not. I don't believe that is in here anywhere, is it? Oh, maybe it is. The Cybernary. Oh yeah, I guess it is. It just doesn't. They didn't follow through with the whole half and half there. It just takes place after. It's not like upside down, I mean. There's actually a face in that cover if you look a little closer. Below the embossed title. You can kind of make it out. Get it in the right light here, you can probably see it better. Or not. There it is. Kind of looks like Marcus Phoenix in there. Gears of War. Anybody? Bloodstrike. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Bloodstrikes. Dooms 4. Rob Liefeld, Mark Pacella, Dooms 4, June 93. That's an ad on the back of this book. You know, Dooms 4 kind of rings a bell, but I don't... Not really. Not a book I have, that's for sure. I think I also have this, so that would make 5 copies of this. That's Liefeld, right? And Dan Fraga. Oh, I just realized I shouldn't be doing the 2 comics to one board because the side of the board is different. Each book's gonna need its own. Wildcats trilogy. Never heard of this in my life. Three of this. For the Wildcats, of course, just not whatever trilogy is. Looks like another Jay Lee, though. Looks like some more Silver Age DC coming up after this. Again, if that's Silver Age. Nice foil cover on this one. Both sides of the board are not created equal. To go back and take those out. Strangely enough, these all have creases in the exact same spot. Can you see it in that one? Yeah, kind of on the left there. Crease right on the spine. Yep, this one too. I think the guy in the middle, the superhero in the middle of that book is called Spartan. Might be all I remember about the Wildcats. All right, let's retire that group. And this last bit, it's kind of a grab bag here. Green Lantern. Number 195, Special Crisis crossover. Which crisis? You'll see. This is an interesting one. This is a Jurassic Park comic book. It says grab bag written all over it. 1 of 4. Probably a small miracle that I did not collect Jurassic Park comic books when I was younger. Also kind of strange that I didn't collect this one, because I was big into Wolverine. My bet would be, because bad guys kind of started to get their own books, Venom Lethal Protector stands out in my mind. I would bet that Sabretooth book came hot on the heels of Venom Lethal Protector. Oh, that is definitely a bug. There was 1,000,000% a bug in that one. look at that bug. Love these John Romita covers. This is another couple of books that I already own. Cable miniseries. The first issue of which is next. This board is damaged, but I think okay. My mom says Mark thought if they were valuable he should buy more than one copy. Yeah, I think the guy he bought books from also thought the same thing. I mean, it's not like I didn't do that either. Actually, did I? I must have done that once or twice, but not very often. It's a good thing though, because now I've got multiples of everything. So, all right, that's enough for tonight. Got one more box full of about just as many, so maybe one more of these streams on the horizon. I have 5 left over from what I did today and another pack of 100. But I'm guessing I'll probably run out, especially if I go back and unbag some of those doubles. So that was fun. Bye.